Wa Yahweh, Allah, Shalom, righteous family. Welcome back to TRU-TALK. This is a video that I've been looking for a long, long time, and I could never find it. Uh, and I run across just a little snippet of it on uh, what's this, Instagram. But this is actually white folks, palm color people, doing what they very often don't do. Let's tell the truth about themselves. They actually having a conversation about where did white skin come from. And they boldly admit that they, white species, along with, I believe, the Chinese race, are not uh, fully human, or what they will call a normal or natural human being that's original to this planet. They admit that. And they admit that other people, scientists that usually get written off or their work don't get shown or they get quiet, admit this too. And they're like, this is a very serious talk because it's involving them and they really are concerned when you see the whole movie. This is just when you see the whole video. Like I said, I couldn't find the whole video, but this is just a little snippet of it. But the whole time they're talking, they really are they're trying to really figure out where do they come from and where do the white race come from? Because that's a question that nobody really want to tackle and be honest about. Where did the white people actually come from? You know, they say it's a mutated gene. And, if you know true science, uh, you know that the blonde hair, the straight hair, the blue eyes is all of a sexy gene. And it's like a watered down, weaker version of a black person or a person. It's but nevertheless, I want you to hear that conversation because and this ain't got nothing to do with pride or hate. This is not to puff our heads up as black people, but as a black people that's been beat down and told that we was nothing. I hope that this give more people not pride but confidence in themselves and let them know that they are they are something special. They are someone special. And the Most High made them special. No, I'm not gonna go into the whole biblical understanding that I believe in where I believe white people come from and all that. Still some dots that I hadn't connected. But nevertheless, let's hear from their own mouth. And for my Negro, dark skin, brown skin, uh, woody hair, thick lips, wide nose, black people, love yourself. You are a special people. Uh, this is why you've been beat down and told that you were nothing because uh, you are something. And we buy the lie. Most of us has brought the lie that our hair is nappy and no good, that our skin, need to be lighter, or what so forth this world has put on it. This world is upside down. But hopefully this come through clear. And I just want y'all to just listen to their conversation. These are Caucasian, white, colored people just having a discussion about who they are and where they come from. And this little snippet right here, they just talking about melanin.
To explain the special about melanin and how it protects the cell, the DNA inside the nucleus, that's very important.
Part of the reason you can't do these experiments, where there's a lot of melanin around, the melanin actually in a lot of people, in black people.
I don't know. Hopefully we're doing this right. Hold on just 1 second, people.
Well, it's actually spread out through the skin. It spreads out through the cells and covers everything from the actions of the ultraviolet light.
There's no doubt in people with high melanin, natural high melanin, that it's far more likely that that melanin will be coating the nucleus, the cell wall of the nucleus of the DNA. Now, the point about that is that ultraviolet light is blocked by that melanin. It absorbs it. It doesn't allow it in to interfere with the DNA. And it could well be, and this is Nigel's thesis, that this was a blocker for them when they were trying to genetically alter the species. And therefore, when maybe just out of random mutation, something like an albino came along, they discovered, wow, we can get straight in.
Right.
And it may well be that the paler-skinned nation, people on the Earth, have that pale skin because of this genetic experimentation to make things easier for them to work on human DNA. And in fact, Professor Steve Jones argues that this thing about vitamin D being, paler skin being there to allow vitamin D to be absorbed and so on, all these theories about why pale skin happened in the first place, he believes it's not an adequate explanation. There is no real explanation or justification for the need for pale skin at all.
Yeah, because I think if
dark skin is always an advantage in every circumstance.
Right. As most people would just automatically assume, well, they went to live in the north where there's less sun, so therefore their skin changed colour. But that's not the case.
According to Professor Steve Jones, an eminent professor of biology, that is absolutely not.
I'm going to stop and I'm going to speak on that right quick, because that's one of the theories that they like to say. And I heard a very intelligent people repeat this theory. Oh, the white people, they went up north, and or black people went up north in the cold, and that's where white people come from. On an elementary level of thinking, that makes sense. But when you really think about it, that made no sense at all. So the cold weather changed the DNA of a person because they got DNA different from a dark-skinned Negro. Their body structure is different. Their bone structure is different. Their hair texture is different. Their eye color is different. All that because of cold weather. You know what I'm saying? That has changed the whole makeup of a person. And never in history, we got Negroes right now that stay in cold weather. They still having Negro children, and there's no proof. There never been a case where they put a Negro in cold weather, and all of a sudden this Negro or his kids started hair started getting thin and straight, and their eyes started turning blue, and their lips got smaller, their nose got longer, their bones. It's just a foolish ideal of thinking that people, when you don't know, you'll grasp to anything. And that's one of the things that, because they don't know where they come from, they just throw anything out. And a lot of people say, well, that make enough sense, and they grasp hold to that because the Negro moved up north, that's where the right space come from, but not smart thinking at all.
Right. Okay.
There's just no reason at all for pale skin.
You would want to absorb more light, and why do we lose hair if we came to a colder climate, etc.
Yeah.
So obviously something's wrong with that idea.
Right. All right. And Nigel contends that that the white races, the Northern European races, have probably had the most interference from this outside entity called the Grae alien.
Yeah, and he doesn't say that. It's very important. Reverse racism.
Right.
It's just he's letting us know that, right, that's there. You may need to do something about it.
Right.
And
so you see, she was like, he's just letting us white people know that this is a possibility and y'all need to do something about it. So they was saying, you know, their whole conversation, and I'm sorry I ain't got the whole video. Like I said, I wasn't able to find it, but that they believe the aliens that they DNA been manipulated at the graves, that, you know, somehow, you know, they don't say fallen angels or demons or devils. They say the graves, the aliens, must have created the Caucasian race. And not only that, they're gonna go into a little bit about they acknowledge that those who cause the problems on this earth are them. That they are the ones that are the most violent. They are the one that's behind the nuclear button, as he say, that's polluting the earth and water. So he said this is something that they own, they take responsibility for. There's like no other race on this planet has took charge of this planet as we done and destroyed it as we. There's something got to be wrong there. There's an inherent evil, and they speak about that. You know, when you watch the full video, that there's an inherent evil in them that they self can't explain, and you know how they seem to have no soul. I tell you no lie, these white people, they speak about this they self, about them not having soul and rhythm. That's why I said this is one of the few times that they actually been honest about themselves. But yeah, man, I've been looking for the video for a long time. Thankful this brother put this clip on Instagram, but it's just a small little portion out of that video. But nevertheless, let's hear him out.
maybe suggesting ways that we could do something about it. And if you look at the record of the European nations throughout history, in terms of colonialism, imperialism, and what the havoc they've wreaked on the world, it makes the point
that
really.
It's the blue-eyed white racists that have got there. Because he mentions the Chinese as well, and he says that they've had significant intervention. Am I right there?
That's right. Yes, there's been interception all across the board. They found ways of doing it, but the most efficient way to do it is on cell nucleuses that aren't protected by the melanin shield. Right. That's just the most efficient, easiest way to do it. But there is a special, do you want to explain the special about melanin and how it protects the cell, the DNA inside the nucleus? I mean, that's very important.
Part of the reason you can't do these experiments, you know, where there's a lot of melanin around, the melanin actually in
So you seen the white man, he even though it's kind of hard, he was like, what about the Chinese? You know, we ain't the only one destroying the earth. You know, the Chinese, they got something to do with it too, right? But yeah, I just had a play of a, you know, they'll talk about how the melanin detect the DNA from this type of exposure or infiltration, but the pale skin, it don't. So nevertheless, they were saying that it was easy for, you know, DNA to be manipulated on the Caucasian and been made into a different species. And they were saying how that was possible. And they were saying that they, you know, just throwing out ideas, talking and trying to figure this thing out. They're saying when albino probably came along, and that's when the whole white race was created, when, as they call it, the aliens, great aliens, figure out that on albino they can change the DNA. But it's just you know, we in a time of information, we in a time of truth. We in the last days. So there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of false teachings, a lot of people are trying to lead others away from the scriptures, from the Most High, from the Bible, with this Kemet and other false gods, and you know, and New Age. You know, we are all our own gods and all that nonsense. But they getting up and working and paying the bills, but they own God. They all guys, we our own guys, but they gotta wake up and work for the Caucasians and pay their bills like everybody else. They gotta put on a jacket in the cold like everybody else. They getting old and dying like everybody else and can't figure nothing out. And the little things, the little knowledge that we do have, like eating healthy and the benefit from weighing stones, is just and don't get me twisted, I'm not talking about worshiping stones like a lot of them do. Just, yeah, the Most I created stones, and there are some benefits of weighing stones uh, and gold. It works with the body. And of course, where do stone come from? And rocks and crystals, they come from the ground, and the nutrients and uh, all that's in those benefit the body, make us happy, make the blood run better, make the heart pump better. Uh, you know, and they like to point out the pineal gland. You know, a lot of people try to worship the third eye, the pineal gland. If your heart not pumping, what do that matter? If your gut not working or your veins, so every part of the body is important. But people just try to take one thing and worship it because they like to worship the creation instead of the creator. But at the end of the day, uh, the Bible got the answers. Uh, Hopefully, you know, everything is not meant for everybody to understand. It's spiritual. But one thing I can tell you, to trust God and let him lead you. And as always, let Yah be true and every man a lie. Until next time, Shalom.